And we should be back, except for that message is up in my screen. There we go. All right. We are back with part 2. Hopefully Sacriel's ready. I tried messaging him a couple of times.
Hello.
Hello. Anyways, so we are in hour 2 now of 1 vs. 1. In the first hour, we spent some time talking to Sacriel about a little bit about his life, mostly about the way that he thinks and breaks things down in his head, and the way he retains information, how he translates that into his streaming. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Twitch. We're going to start from the beginning, and we'll work into where he's at today, and maybe have just a little discussion about Twitch in general. So without further ado, Sacriel, how did you get started on Twitch, man? Like, what brought you to Twitch? What was the first time you heard about Twitch? Why did you start streaming? All that good stuff.
DayZ. DayZ is everything. This game came out. I was playing back in the day. I was a Battlefield 3, like a YouTuber. Like me, Jack, Frags, and Frankie were all like 3,000-4,000 subs each on YouTube. And we're all making similar videos. Like, oh, today, guys, I'm going to try out this sniper rifle build. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And then the guys I used to play Battlefield with were like, "Have you heard this DayZ thing?" I was like, "No." And I went on Twitch for the first ever time just to watch this game. I was like, I'd never heard of Twitch, no idea what live streaming was, and I watched a bit of DayZ, and I was like, whoa, I'm super invested in this guy who's like crawling around on his stomach in an airfield because someone on the other side of the world is going to shoot him, and he's going to lose all his shit and have to start again. It was super tense. It was super tactical. Immediately watching people's streams, my brain was like shouting out like, oh my god, don't position yourself like that. Is that the right weapon to be holding? And I was already like, oh my god, I need to play this. So then I got the game and I started making YouTube videos, and my YouTube channel blew up. Went up to like 60,000 followers, subs on YouTube in like a couple of months, and everyone was on the comments saying, you should stream. And I was like, I wasn't very confident at the time. Like, I was barely confident enough to do YouTube videos, never mind with my voice on them, never mind streaming. I tried it, and after my first couple of streams, Ernest Lee from Twitch messaged me on PM in Twitch, and he's like, do you want a button to press where people can give you money, like a subscriber button? And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Do I like money?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Wait, so how far into streaming did this happen?
Like 2 days in or something, because I came across as the biggest DayZ YouTuber. I'd be like, hey guys, I'm going to stream, and I'd get like 400 viewers on my first stream, and this was back when the top Twitch streamer had like 2,000 viewers. So I immediately jumped into like the top 20 streamers or top 50 or something out of nowhere. So they were like, here, have a subscriber button. And then I started to cultivate my community. I'd see the same names every day, and I'd remember their real names instead of their Twitch names, and they'd learn about me and would be, do things. They'd be like, oh, I remember last week when you did this thing. And I was like, yeah. And I kind of got this massive love for building a massive community, a beautiful, positive, friendly family on Twitch. And then it just literally, my YouTube's died off. It was like, I can either record DayZ for 10 hours to get 30 minutes of firefights, and then edit that for 6 hours, then render that for 2 hours, then upload it for 2 hours, then watch 2 hours for it to process, to put it on YouTube, and then a week later, and then 2 months later, my YouTube partner would be like, here's $15 for that video, and it took me like 40 hours combined to make. I'm like, I can stream, and 10 people subscribe to me, and I make way more than I would have done on YouTube. And then it just blew up from there.
So it was kind of a natural stepping stone then. You had started on YouTube, you had already kind of built a following, you kind of took that over into Twitch, and it made you a little bit more successful. So how long did you stay with DayZ? I know that you streamed DayZ for a long.
When did I? I've not left it.
Well, I guess that's true too. I know. I guess I sound like one of the, like somebody in the chat that's like, like, are you never gonna play DayZ again? Is it over? That kind of thing. But I remember when you used to just strictly play DayZ. Like, that was it. There was no variety.
2 years.
Yeah. Like 2 years.
A Battlefield release or something for a few days.
Yeah.
But there's something beautiful about DayZ. It's just such a broad game that it lets me use all the mental modeling that I've been talking about this interview all the time, which is really enjoyable for me. Just everything, like the way you approach your place, the way you pick up gear, which gear do you pick up, in what order do you wear the gear, all that kind of stuff. Not only just the combat, just the general moving around and staying alive is satisfying to me, because it's a constant shifting model, and I need to find the right solution all the time. So for me, that's just way more fun than like Call of Duty. Spawn with a gun, kill 3 people, die. Spawn with a gun, kill 3 people, die. Press F6, 12 people die. At the end of the game, it says, you got 25. And you go, I got 25. That means nothing. to you. Like the only pride I would get from that is the ratio. Like I have a good ratio. Whereas DayZ, it's like, remember that time? Like I can remember like 4 years ago. Remember that time? Like there was a bus and the guy got out on the left-hand side and you shot him in the legs. I can remember everything because it meant something. Whereas, you know, a lot of games it's literally just kill, die. I got 25-6. Cool. For me, DayZ is about the stories, about how you overcame adversity. And there's a lot more adversity you can have in that game because of how wide it is and the RNG and the difficulty of playing a sandbox and everything.
Well, why don't you tell us a few of those stories then? Can you think of any stories that you want to share with us, like your favorite times from DayZ, if you will? I know there's probably a lot. You know, there's 2 years of content there. I mean, if I sit here and go, oh God, what did I do in DayZ? You know, and I feel like I played it a lot. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, there's that time and that time and that time.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few of my YouTube videos that were really popular and people still kind of talk about them to this day, because I was one of the first people that did proper like hardcore squad play. Like a lot of people would be like, I'm going to go like up towards the middle of the map now, guys. But I was literally like, we've got call outs for places. We've got like strategies and tactics and all this stuff. We would like super try hard. And I mean, one of my most memorable videos, I guess, was where we were up at the airfield. I had an AS-50, which was this 50 cal sniper rifle, which is actually a British sniper rifle made for the Navy SEALs out of titanium or something. It's pretty crazy. And vehicles were very rare in DayZ. And there was this vehicle, like this truck, driving down the airfield. And me and my entire squad were in this building looking out the window. And there was this vehicle driving along, loads of people everywhere. And one of my squad went, this is going to go so wrong. And I just whipped out this AS-50. I went, this is going to go so right. And I just shot this round off and it popped the tires on the car. So it stopped in the middle of the airfield, and then I shot the driver, and then his mate got out, and I shot him, and it was like a scene from a movie. Like we were this squad that snuck into the airfield and set up in a building, and there's people everywhere, and it just felt like a movie. And the way I edited the videos, at the start of the video and at the end of the videos, there'd be these kind of highlights where there'd be a heartbeat, and between each heartbeat was just like 2 or 3 seconds of like me aiming a gun, and then and it shifts to something else. So at the start of the video, you get this like, he's aiming at a guy, whoa, he gets shot at, he's hit, oh my God. And then you've got like a 10 or 15 minute video in the middle of it where you see it all. And then at the end, it's like on the next video, and it'll be like a trailer for the next video. And it's that same heartbeat and like video of me running through a forest and I'm aiming a gun at someone shoots at me, an explosion goes off. And like, there's all these amazing moments like that really made those videos take off in the first place.
So from that statement, I've learned 2 things. One, that you're a big fan of Quentin Tarantino. And 2, you do an exceptionally well heartbeat sound. Like, do it. Oh my God, that's a talent in itself, my friend.
I've got something to fall back on then.
Yeah, if you ever don't make it in Twitch, you'll be able to just do
Tarantino
heartbeat sound effects. Yeah, you'll be the number one guy that every hospital show goes to if they need legit heart sounds. So DayZ was a big deal for you. Did you find any games that you loved as much as DayZ, like that just really hit that interest, or games that were
Warcraft.
close? Yeah.
I played Warcraft for like 8 years. That was the same. It was the same. It was all extrapolating models and understanding how to min-max your strategies and your gear and learning raid boss strategies and being the first person to get the first raid boss and wear the coolest armor and all that. So yeah, Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft for like 8 years, all the way up till Mr. Pandaria. Once they had the pandas in, I was out. Forget it.
Wait, whoa, hold on. Well, stop just a second. What was wrong with the pandas, my friend? Why did you hate pandas?
Because like I said earlier, I have a very strict, narrow definition of what's cool. Humans, knights, orcs, warriors, shamans, night elves, druids, cool. Panda, dressed as a Chinaman, but hitting people with a stick, not cool.
you know, I thought that like the monk class would like really resonate with you.
If they weren't pandas, yeah.
So you're just strictly against pandas. I'll have you know that there's less than 2,000 pandas in the world today, Sacriel.
Good. They won't mate. They think they're goths. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. They literally died. They've released like 6 in the wild, and 3 of them have died.
I'll fuck them up. Where?
Listen. Listen. If you're watching and you're part of some kind of, if you're part of like WWF, not the Wrestling Federation, but you know. We're talking about a play right now. He's not actually going to assassinate any pandas. Yeah, like one fell out of a bamboo tree and like died. Like that's I don't know.
If evolution is telling them to just forget about it. It's ridiculous.
So you
they only eat this really stupid shit that we like cutting down to make buildings. Like, they're not designed to survive. This is evolution, bitches. Get over it, pandas. Get out of my favorite
get
game.
over it. PETA. Okay, so World of Warcraft kind of they're so weird because they're such different games, and it actually kind of surprised me that you were so into MMOs. When I met you and started watching your stream, I think one of the conventions you were like, yeah, I got an early access to the new World of Warcraft expansion. Do you want to come play it? And I was like, you play World of Warcraft? Like, what? So
people are surprised at that. They think I'm just like FPS mania. So yeah, when people go, like, if I play like an MMO, a MOBA, people are like, oh my god, have you ever played League? I'm like, I was playing Dota on like Warcraft Engine 10 years ago. I played thousands of games of it. I was doing MOBAs way like 5 years before League. I played MMOs for like 8 years. I played RTSs back from Dune and Warcraft 1. So like, people kind of put me in this box of like first person only, but I play and have a lot of experience in a lot of games. The only games I don't play are beat 'em ups, like Street Fighters and stuff, and sports games and racing games.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I don't play any sports games.
For me, riding, like racing in cars, not cool. Kicking a ball around a field, not cool. Beat 'em ups. I love and respect beat 'em ups. Like, I can watch pro level beat 'em ups and be like, oh my god, I wish I was, because I could get well into that, right? Because it's all about frame trapping and all that kind of stuff.
They get meticulous. They're very strategic about how they play. Yeah,
I respect the hell out of them. I just never got into them, and now and I just never liked the format really. So, but I respect them a lot.
So in the time that you've been streaming, so you did a lot of DayZ. Were there ever times in your stream where you thought, man, I really need to do something different? Like, I need to make a change. And if so, like, what kind of change did you go through?
It's really awkward. It's kind of difficult to talk about because it's basically, I don't know.
Remember, you don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about.
It's fine. No, I'm a big boy.
Okay. You want me to stroke your hair? Let me just touch your face a little bit. There you go. Are we close? I don't think.
Is this?
Hold on. Over here. Okay, there we go. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Just talk to me, sweetie.
So no, I kind of, the thing is with me, like, I've been streaming to 2,000 to 3,000 people for like 4 years. So my channel never went, like, some people just go like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and they just go up.
Yeah.
Some people go like 400, 500, 600 up to 1,000, then back down again and disappear. And I've been like 2,000, 3,000, 2,000, 3,000, 2,000, 3,000 for 4 years. So basically, if I play DayZ, I can get 3,000 or 4,000 people to watch. But if I play World of Warcraft, like the new expansion, Legion, if I played that, I'd get like 800 to 1,000 viewers maybe, because it's such a change of pace from seeing me just PvP in a game to like MMO. All of a sudden, it's like casting spells and getting on griffins and floating around and all this stuff. It's such a big change that I've really struggled to branch out. Like, I can still make a living playing pretty much anything I want, but if I want to feel like my career is still going somewhere, I in my head, I think this is actually a flaw, and Lethal Frag talks about this a lot. Lethal Frag says you should never watch your view account. You should hide your view account. And when you're playing, when you're streaming, you shouldn't look over and go, oh, I've got 3,000 viewers. Okay, let's do the good jokes now. You should be doing your best all the time. But a weakness in me is I need to check I'm doing okay all the time. And when I start to go from 2,000 to 1,500 down to 1,000, then it's like, oh God, do I go back to DayZ again? I kind of struggle. But like, there's some games that work for me, like Culling, I'm getting 2 to 3. Evolve, I was getting 6 to 10. Battlefront, I was getting 6 to 10. In the DayZ tournament, I got 25,000 concurrents. So I kind of come to terms with the fact that I'll never be a 20,000 viewer streamer, and I probably don't want to be, because I like having a chat.
Yeah.
I kind of like the set where I am, 2 to 3,000 with a really core community of amazing people and new people that cycle in, and as some people from my community leave, new people come in with different games and stuff. I kind of like where I am.
Yeah, and it comes in waves, right? Like sometimes, and I found this on my own channel, sometimes you'll be up here and you'll have this many thousand and then down here, and, you can get really caught up in the game. I'm with Lethal Frag. I don't look at my viewer count like ever. I hide it. I don't ever have it up when I'm broadcasting. I try to make sound choices when it comes to, I understand what you're saying when you say, like as a business, I want my career to go for it. I try to make sound choices where I'm picking things that I have fun with, as opposed to things that I'm not having fun with, but I know will get me viewers, right? So so it sounds like you struggle with that as well.
Yeah. Sometimes a game will come out and I'm like, I have to play this. because it's the new game. Like I managed to overcome not playing Division because I don't like it, but only because Culling was out. If Culling wasn't out, I'd be playing Division, even though I wouldn't like it because people want me to play it because it's the new shooty game and I'm the shooty guy. And it's sometimes it's just because I'm not angry about it, I'm not upset about it. It's just part of the business, right? You know, if a new MOBA came out, MMO came out, they probably want Towley to play it, and you know, all the other WoW streamers and stuff. So it's just part of the business. You always get it typecast a little bit. But the good thing about where I am is I still genuinely love DayZ. It's not like I'm playing it like, oh, I have to play this because I need my views. Like I thoroughly enjoy every moment of DayZ. And if you look through my highlights, like only a month ago, just before Colin came out, there were still like crazy highlights of like 5v1 squad fights at the airfield where I kill everyone and all my chat's blowing up and everyone's enjoying it. So, and I'm enjoying it. So and DayZ's only at 0.6, right? So we've got all that left to get to version 1. So by version 1 comes out, who knows? I might be on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 viewers by then because the player base for DayZ will come back because there'll be good FPS. There'll be stricter netcode. There'll be more items. There'll be better map, all that kind of stuff.
And you still holding out hope for that, right? Like DayZ to finally become the game that you know that it can be. Because I'm one of those people, like, I know the potential, man. Like I played it for months myself, and I loved it, you know. But it had such blaring, whatever. It had problems, and after a while, I just got tired of walking up these stairs and then my legs breaking. You know, after I just got some decent gear, you know, spent the last couple hours. I don't know if I have the same kind of optimism that you do with it, though. I'm not sure that I think that it's ever gonna like finally be that game that we want. But do you still feel that way? You still feel like there's a chance that this game could
I look at DayZ like I looked at my sex life in the 20s. It can't get any worse. Like, they would have to like add pandas to make it worse. Bohemia, don't you add fucking pandas to DayZ? They cannot make it any worse. As much as they might try, they will accidentally make it better. And the next patch that's coming out is going to improve FPS. It's going to improve netcode. It's going to have a bunch of new shit.
So do you ever so you feel a little bit trapped sometimes with your game choices, just on those? Do you ever feel like maybe even, I don't know, I feel a certain amount of resentment when I can't like play the game that I definitely want to play. I play like my second fun game, you know?
I do.
Like, yeah.
Like I want to play Stardew Valley. I think because it's like a really interesting game where you have to learn all these complex models of what to farm and what to unlock and how to do things and check the radio and make sure the weather's going to be a certain way tomorrow and do different things in your day depending on the weather and all this. I think that's cool. But if I played that, I probably would only get like 400 viewers, maybe. I don't know. So there are things where I kind of feel that, I wish I could just play that and still get X many subs or donations or whatever I need to pay my rent and bills and stuff. So yeah, there's definitely an undertone of that all the time. But I feel like with Overwatch, Culling, DayZ, Battlefield, Warships, you know, with all the PvP games that I excel at, I have enough options that I can keep it fresh.
So what kind of steps did you take to make that blow a little bit easier? I noticed that there was like a time where you just like, you kind of really branched out. Like you started doing variety of different things.
I said I wouldn't play DayZ. I was like, fuck DayZ, fuck Bohemia. You've ruined this enough. And I would just play other stuff. But it hurt my channel too much.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you about it actually. And you said when I did Hearthstone, I'd get like 5,000 to 10,000. And then I'd play something else and I'd get 1,000. And I just had to grin and bear it and just be like, well, this is where we are now. But I've tried that several times throughout my career to just drop DayZ and just play different stuff. But after like 2 or 3 months, my channel drops down and it doesn't kind of arch back up. It kind of just stays there for a month or two. And then I just lose my nerve. And I'm like, if I do this for 6 months or a year, all of a sudden when I play DayZ again, it's going to continue like that because someone else will be the big FPS person. So I've kind of tried to position myself on Twitch as the PvP tryhard guy where, there's a new game out like the Culling where it's PvP, or Evolve where it's PvP, or Battlefield or whatever, where if people want to see how much ass you can kick in a new action game, they'll come and watch my channel. And I think that's where I'm kind of settling as like a PvP tactical specialist. And it branches me out enough that I have a bunch of options. So I'm not just the DayZ guy, I'm the PvP guy. But it's definitely a really hard thing to overcome. Like it's a horrible feeling.
Part of the reason, I've said this before, but part of the reason having, Twitch streamers on here is I know that a lot of people in the audience are really interested in starting their own streams and getting involved in somehow, because, the people who watch Twitch really love video games. I mean, I feel like this is the place where we all get together, the hardcore gamers, and some of us stream and some of us watch, but some of us who watch, I know that they really wish they could be streamers. So I think it's important to talk about some of these struggles, because I think there's a misconception that this is an easy job, right? Because we play video games, this is easy. And it's not something that typically as streamers that we like to talk about, because it can come across as complaining, but I think it's important that people see that these different struggles that we have as broadcasters, even established broadcasters on whatever level, that we still deal with stuff too. So I appreciate you being really candid, about it, and talking about it. I think people need to hear it. So let's talk about culling a little bit, because you've had this like kind of resurgence with culling. I've seen your numbers have been insanely good, and I watched you pretty much all afternoon. And man, some of the things you were doing on there, it's like I played culling and I think that I do all right. Like I'm like, okay, I get this. I can, whatever. And then I watched you play it, and I'm like, oh my God, there's this whole other level of this game that I hadn't even considered. And, what did you do today? I mean, you had the one where you, there was a couple of things. The one where you had let these three people fight in this big room, and there was it came down like two people, and then you threw a grenade on the last guy and like blew him up. And there's just this pile of loot, like an unfathomable pile of loot that there's no way you can sort through all of it. And you're just like, here we are.
Yeah. In fact, on today's stream, there's one point where there's three people fighting, and they were all blooded. So in culling, you can tell how wounded people are by how bloodied their clothes are. If someone's got a white t-shirt, once they get down to like 75% health, there'll be spats of blood in it. And then when they get down to 50, there's more blood. And when they get down to like 25 or less, they're like, it's like a red t-shirt. So I sit there watching, and I'm like, he's bloodied. Oh, he's bloodied too. He's bloodied. And I ran up, and I had a claymore mine, and I put it down in the middle of them, and it takes like a second to prime. So I just ran off, turned around, and just said, doo-doo-doo-doo. And it just triple killed them, and it's just gear flying everywhere. And I was like, I can't even be bothered to sell this, and I just walk off.
Yeah, there was another video I saw. It was a highlight where you had activated a poison trap, and as it was going out, so when you activate this poison trap in the game, it sends out a dust cloud, right? And people who are in the buildings nearby have to like evacuate the buildings, otherwise they get caught in this poisonous gas. And this guy was escaping, and you basically just like were like, I'm gonna cut him off right here. Watch, he's gonna run right here. And he did, and you jumped behind him, you like stabbed him and killed him. And I'm like, what a great highlight. But it didn't end there, because you went down just like a few feet, like, I don't know, 30, 40 feet. And then some guys were fighting up above you, and you shot the bridge out, which I didn't even know was a possibility. And it like one guy landed in front of you, like 2 HP, you punch him, kill him. The guy he was fighting fell too, and you just beat him. I was just like, it was blowing my mind. What is it? I mean, from everything you've said in the first video, I can see why you like the culling a lot. It's definitely right up your alley. What are you hoping to see from that game, going forward? I know you were talking a little bit about the explosives today, feeling like they were a little bit OP.
Yeah. So because I play so much MOBAs and MMOs, I have a really strong compass for balance. And for me personally, as a prideful gamer, I think balance should be based on effort. So, for example, with a bow in the game, if I get a headshot with the best bow in the game, with the best perks in the game, from the furthest range you can hit a bow, it'll do like 30 damage. Or, which is really low, 30 out of 100.
Oh, yeah.
Or I can get a grenade, just click on you. No matter, you're near me, click, and it does 65. Like, for me, that's so disconnected. Like, the most skillful thing in the game to do does nothing, but the most skillless thing in the game to do does a massive amount. And like, for example, the ultimate thing is C4. You put C4 somewhere, and you can literally just stand near it with the C4 trigger and be like, come and hit me then. And when they come and hit, you go, do-do-do-do, and they're dead. Like, anyone could do that. So I think there's some balance issues from my personal perspective where, I mean, there's people have different perspectives, and I appreciate them. Maybe those weapons are in the game so that newer players can contend with the better players. But that doesn't make for an entertaining game at the high end, because that means the better players are forced to use these weapons designed for the newer players because they're so overpowered. Do you see what I mean? Like, you don't have a card in Hearthstone that's like, well, newer players have a difficult time, so here's a 100 card.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it doesn't work.
You
like
learn,
that.
you get better. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a gun that's got an aimbot built into CS because there's newer players. So I hope the culling kind of tweak back some of the easy mode stuff and make it so that when you see a bursty fast kill, it's because somebody had the skill and prowess to achieve it, rather than like, oh, you opened a crate and got a C4, cool, poof, you just killed someone. But I think the game's got a great potential. Like I was saying, I've since it came out, I've streamed 145 hours straight of it on my channel, and if they just added another map, then that's probably another 200 hours. Do you know what I mean? One map with another, if they added a pack where it's like, oh, we're going to add a new type of weapons now. Here's 12 new weapons. That's another, 100 hours I'm going to play it, because there's all this new stuff to use and play with and model. So I really like it. They came out of nowhere. You know what? Did you know that 10 months ago it was just an idea in like a presentation? They were like, oh, let's make a game 10 months ago. And they've I think they cleared about 300,000 from unofficial figures. This isn't official by any means. About 300,000 sales.
That is insane. I mean, it did come out of nowhere. It did come out of nowhere. And as soon as it came out, I was like, oh my God, I've been waiting for a game just like this. And, we've had things kind of dance around it, right? That Hunger Games kind of feel. But I think Culling's probably the first game that, like, right out of the gate made you feel it. Yeah. It Absolutely really made you feel it. Yeah. What do you think about traps in the game?
I think they're actually really good. They're very powerful. Traps are some of the best ways to beat good players. The amount of times, like, someone will be chasing me and I've got like a crafted knife and I'm like, shit. But I put a snare down and they just twing, hit the snare, 15 damage. Then you walk behind them, backstab, push, backstab. All of a sudden you've just taken 60, 70 damage off someone that was way more outgeared than you.
Yeah.
There's a few things, like when you talk about traps, you might think about C4 and claymores. I think they're overpowered. But in terms of like the actual wire traps that trap you, or the punji sticks, they're definitely very interesting and have proper viable strategies. Like if you put the punji sticks, which is like a row of spikes that's really obvious, so here's the floor and the spikes are just sticking out. But if you put that inside a bush, it's invisible. And then a guy runs at you with the sword, and they don't affect your own player when you've placed them. So you just back over them, he steps on them, and now you've got a huge advantage. So they definitely have a good place, which is really cool. I think they've really done an interesting balance on the game.
I say this because I was the guy in the first couple days that was just using traps pretty much only. Like I was spending all match trapping up the middle so that by the time the gas came in, we were just messing around and trying things. But I found that especially the perks were really lackluster. And I know they made some changes recently to the traps, but they had a it was really weird the way that they had it. It was like 25% more damage to traps perk or something like that. But
25 damage on 15 damage isn't a great deal of damage.
Yeah, exactly. But for a claymore, it's a huge amount of damage. But my thing was, wouldn't you just take explosives at that point? Because there was like a perk for a certain amount of damage for explosives.
Yeah, or just 10% more damage on everything. There's a few. Yeah, a lot of the perks are lackluster. All the ranged perks are dreadful. All the bow perks are particularly bad. I feel like they did the melee perks first, and then they're like, yeah, we need to relaunch the game soon, guys. And they just literally typed in a few things for the other weapons and went, there you go. I hope they do a full revamp of the perks, because a lot of like you say, the trap ones are pretty bad.
Yeah. So let's move on from culling. What are you looking forward to coming out? Anything at all?
That's an interesting one. I've not really. That's one of the weaknesses for me as a streamer, and Shannon's been telling me this for like 4 years, and it's still my weakness. I never plan properly. So like a lot of streamers will be like, okay, on March, this game's coming out, and I'll stream it for 2 weeks, and then on this expansion's coming out, and before it comes out, I'm gonna play the other games in that series so that everyone likes my channel. People do all this clever shit. I'm like, what? I'm like, huh? Culling's coming out. Can I get a key? What is this? Load it. Let's go. Like I just play it on the day. Like what's going on?
Yeah. Sounds.
I'm just lucky that people reach out to me and go, "Here's our game," because otherwise I'd be like, "What's this?"
Yeah. I would say probably like 90% of the time that I know that a game is out is because I found it on the Twitch front page and I was like, "Oh, it's out. Cool. All right. I guess I'll try to find a key last minute."
I'm on a different time zone, right? So I see it and I'm like, what? And I tweet the devs like, yo, I'm Sacriel. You should give me a key. I'm totally badass and all that. And they're like, the catsuit guy. I'm like, the very same.
Yeah. Well, from now on, that's how it will go down. Yeah.
I'm not going to get so much shit for that for the rest of my life. but they're like asleep and stuff, so I can't even get a key. It's a real pain in the ass. But I'm looking forward to all the DayZ patches. I would say I'm looking forward to WoW. I played like Warlords of Draenor on stream for like a few weeks, and then off. I actually ended up playing that. I love WoW so much, I played it off stream. So I'd end my stream and I'd play WoW, and I did all the content. I'd like kind of looking forward to WoW, but I know I can't really stream it. I don't know. I really couldn't name any really good games coming out this year.
Are you a Dark Souls kind of guy? Did you?
No.
No, I didn't think so. I didn't think so because Dark Souls 3 is coming out, and that's pretty exciting.
Because they were typically console games first, so you had to play them on console.
Yeah.
I think they didn't come out on PC originally or something, or something like that. Like Bloodborne, I had to play it on console, but I think that was an influencer. I can't remember. But it's not my cup of tea. I definitely enjoy watching them. I've watched loads of streamers play them, and I enjoy watching them, and I appreciate the deep level of skill that's in them. But it's just not my kind of game. Like, roll, hit, roll away, hit, roll away, hit.
Yeah. So do you stick mostly to PC gaming then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't. Very rarely. Let me guess. You only dabble in the console thing if it's a console exclusive and you really want to play it.
Yeah, like for example GTA.
Yeah. GTA is freaking awesome. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, but for me, just using a pad is just like, I don't know. It's like peeling a banana with chopsticks. Like, it's just such a limiting factor. Whereas PC, you got a keyboard with all these keys, you got macros, you got all your mouse sensitivity switches, you got like so much more broader abilities to interface with the game.
Yeah,
that it raises the skill level a great deal for me. So.
I always like find myself kind of halfway. Like in some sections I'll use my controller, like if I'm like doing a helicopter or in a car, because like with the controller you can press down the button enough where you can kind of like you can accelerate instead of just like I press W so I go, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I definitely get what you're saying. So you're not sure what you're looking forward to except for the new patch for DayZ. What's coming out in the new?
Field off some games, I reckon I'd be like, oh yeah, that's coming out this year, and I'd be happy about it. But I can't.
I saw a game that I thought you would really gravitate towards.
Oh, actually, Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was just about to say Escape from
your brain.
Yeah, so
I'm actually in touch with the devs for that, so that's cool. So yeah, Escape from Tarkov. When you watch the video, you're like, this is like DayZ if Bohemia were Blizzard. And
yeah.
But it's actually, from what I gather, I'm not 100% sure on this, it's actually much more of a Division style game where you're going to do like raids with your teammates, and it'll be like you and 3 friends versus a wave of AI, and you kill them and you get gear. And it's not going to be like DayZ where you spawn in a wilderness and you're like, where am I? And you loot a car and you find a pistol and you sneak into a house and you find some food and you hear footsteps, and if you die you start again, which I would love it to be. So as far as I understand it, it's a bit more like Division, but it's like Division in DayZ. It's going to be Russian world. It's not just going to be walking around like, where is it, New York or whatever, Manhattan. And it's just streets of garbage and cars. It's like, I much prefer the whole like sneak into a farmhouse, climb up the ladder, find a rifle under the bed, load it. The more kind of
like rural areas.
Style. Rural. But this game looks insane. Like the animation system is absolutely insane. They've got like 400 animations for every character and every gun. We could do like tactical. Have you seen the video about reloads? It's pretty insane.
No, the only videos I personally I try to keep away from too like overhyping a game too much. So I usually watch just enough to get interested, and then I'm like, okay, cool. What I did see was a really elaborate gun modification system.
Yeah.
What it looked like, it looked insanely.
You can actually take off
detailed.
the casing of the gun, and you can see the workings on the inner like the mechanics of the like the cartridges being ejected and all sorts of crazy stuff. But also you can do like a whole different range of reloads. So like say you've got a pistol with a mag in it and you need to reload, you can either just like press the mag release and it drops onto the floor and you slap in another one, or you can actually reach up, take this mag out, and the guy actually holds it between his fingers and then slides the other one in, but it takes longer, and then he puts the other mag in his pocket so you keep it in your inventory. So there's all these really complicated ways of playing the game that is going to make it really interesting. Like your guns can jam, and there's like an animation where your guy will turn the gun over and like knock out the shell and cycled around, and all sorts of really cool stuff. It looks really interesting. And they just did another video the other day showing the modification where a guy had like a Makarov pistol with a C mag, like, which, a C mag's like one of those drum mags that you get on a Tommy gun, but it's like a pistol with a C mag underneath it with like 100 rounds or something. It definitely looks cool, and I'm going to be hopefully getting to play it fairly soon. So I'll be able to get a real feel for how far between DayZ and Division it really is.
For those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, we're talking about Escape from, is it Tarkov?
Tarkov.
Tarkov, yeah. I wasn't sure on the name. If the mods can find a link and throw it into the chat, that'd be awesome. What about Overwatch? Are you excited for the actual release of Overwatch? Because we had, I believe we had a lot of fun in that game.
Yeah.
JP and Summit and Sexy Hexy and all those guys.
Yeah. No, so yeah, Overwatch is a solid game. I definitely enjoy it. Every time I play it, I enjoy it. It suffers a bit from MOBA. From the MOBA problems that you get, where like people just want to do their build. So if you get 5 people that just want to get kills, you don't have a tank or a healer.
Yeah.
And you just get raffle stomped and it's not enjoyable. But when you play it with friends, it's so much more fun. But I don't have many friends in the EU that play it. So I don't really play it that much anymore. But if I was in America and people were like, oh, JP and Ello and Summit and whoever's playing, do you want to join? And I could just join in all the time, I'd play it a lot more. It's definitely a solid game, great FP, great frames per second, beautiful engine, well balanced, brilliant netcode, wonderful design, great aesthetics. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it myself. I'm looking forward to it coming out. I kind of fall into the same thing as you do. If I'm not playing with it's like one of those, it's a duality thing for me, right? I love playing that game with a big group of people, but I also really love interacting with my chat. And so like I get this like thing where I'm trying to do both, and it makes me kind of stressed out, and I can't decide what I really want to do.
I'll be trying to talk and it's like and you're just like, do I mute them? But then they're like, Sacriel, and I can't hear them. It's a real juxtaposition to be like, you want to answer questions in chat or thank a donation or a sub or something, but people are just blasting away, and it's rude to just mute them all the time. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Now you do a lot more gaming with others than I do. I tend to be more singular and kind of in my own little bubble. But you because of the team play and the things that you that you are interested in, like DayZ and stuff like that, you typically tend to get on call with people more often than I do. Do you enjoy it? I know that there's a difference, but let's talk about it a little bit. The difference between being a broadcaster and being there on your own and having to be entertaining and stuff and interacting with chat versus being on a call with somebody and being tactical and kind of putting the interaction on a kind of on the bench. Do you prefer one way or the other?
I understand your question, but your question's flawed because I play DayZ. So DayZ is 45 minutes of running around fields.
That's very true.
Be talking to my chat, and because I play with Break, who's a really good broadcaster too, we can pace ourselves correctly where we're talking to our chat, and we'll just every now and then go, want to go to Zelenogorsk? Yeah, I need some meds. Okay, I'll get some ammo. And that's the little burst of tactics we need to get us through the next few minutes of not talking. But then we also, because me and Break are so similar, we have really good banter. So if we just want to talk crazy shit while we're running through these fields, both our chats will enjoy it. And then we can go back to talking to our chats. So DayZ is kind of a cheat game for that.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
If I'm playing Overwatch, then it really is like, I feel like almost like I'm abandoning my chat because I have to just be like, oh, I'm on it. There's a guy behind you, I'm healing, there's one on the left. And it's just so much radio clutter that you can't interact with the chat. And I genuinely have a pang of like, I feel like I'm letting people down because I'm not like, oh, hey, Mike, how you doing? How are you back from your holiday? I hope your dog's feeling better, because I know my viewers, right? It's definitely a really hard thing to overcome. But for me, I'm lucky that 99% of mine is in games like DayZ, where I can, run around doing nothing.
What about Paragon? I mean, you've been playing a little Paragon too.
Don't.
Do you not like Paragon?
I love it.
I love
can't
it too.
MOBAs. My mentality of super try hard, and then the alter ego of super salty MOBA viewers, it doesn't work. Because like I'm really analytical.
Yeah.
So like say I kill someone or I die, I'm like, oh, okay, so I think his cooldown is shorter than that because he's using that other ability. And I'm just analyzing how I died so I can learn.
Verbally, yeah.
400 people in chat. Salty, lol, you did a mistake. Lol, don't even know your spec. Lol, has he even played League before? And it's just like hundreds of people being assholes. I mean, DayZ, that's fine because it's typically, I just excel a lot at DayZ, so they don't have time or reason to say anything like that. Whereas in MOBAs, where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that tower like could hit me from there. Or I didn't know that if I use that card and to take it out of my deck, I can't use it again. You just get a torrent of hate for me personally, I just can't leave it unaddressed. So then I start addressing it like, well, this is my second game of Paragon ever, and then all of a sudden I'm addressing the trolls, and it just becomes this real maelstrom of fucking hate and anger, and it really upsets me. So I played Paragon for like 8 hours and genuinely felt like it tore away at my soul.
Really? Yeah. No, I got the same thing with Hearthstone. It was kind of the same boat. It was how I did so well at Hearthstone was simply because of the level of fear I had from my chat for every mistake that I made. It was like everybody was an expert, right? And God forbid that you try to learn while streaming. And I think this is something important again to reiterate. If you're enjoying what the stream that you're watching, if you are enjoying their content, especially on a game, but they're trying to learn, man, try to be patient with them. Like, try your best, chat, because it's really tough for us to want to jump into new games and learn them in front of you guys when that kind of criticism comes down. And sometimes the criticism isn't even justified. In a lot of ways, I had people yelling at me in Paragon because they were saying that I needed to stack ability power. They were like, ability power, do ability power. There's no like ability power anywhere, but there was people from League of Legends. I mean, when you click on the heroes, there is a little thing that says this person's ability power is really high. But when you're making a deck and stuff like that for Paragon, there's no ability power thing. So it was driving me nuts. I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you don't. That's the thing. Sometimes because I'm so open and straightforward with assessing information, if enough people say something, I think maybe they're right. So I kind of I try to like take their information and put it in my model and process it to figure out what the solution is. But a lot of the time, it's literally just people lying or trolling or just being incorrect. So like someone will go like, oh, you press 5 to do that ability. And then I'll go into a team fight and I'll think, should I press 5? But that does something totally different. So then I can't trust what they say. But then people are genuinely trying to help you, but you can't trust those people because last time it was some troll that was, and it's just it's this horrible position where, do you know what I mean?
It's a clusterfuck is what it is. It's
a horrible position where you have to either disrespect all your chat and go, I'm not listening to anything any of you say, because half the time it's just an asshole just saying something wrong to make you go wrong so they can have a go at you. So it's this really awkward, like, do you know what I mean? It's such
I know exactly what you mean.
That's why when I play games like Culling and DayZ that I excel at, there's nothing they can say that I know is that anything they say I can cut it down. If people go, oh, peaches are the best food in the game, I'm like, I read the text of the game file yesterday. I know it's not. Like, I know. Whereas when you play Paragon, it's like, or a new MOBA. MOBAs are so hard to learn, right?
Yeah.
They'll just lie, and then they win if you believe them. Or if you say, I'm not listening, they're like, I've won anyway because now he's not listening to his chat. So it's like an easy win for trolls. So streaming MOBAs is just such a train wreck for me personally.
But you enjoyed the game.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Like Jesse, Fairlight, and Kong Fan and a bunch of others were playing it yesterday, and I was like, I wish I could just be like, you know what, guys, I played Cullen for 8 hours now. I'm just going to do a couple of hours of Paragon with these guys. But I was actually just scared of streaming it because I don't want the chat to just turn into this hate fest. Like, I mean, my options are put it in sub-only mode, but then I'm disrespecting my viewers that have been watching for 4 years that can't sub. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's all
no, man.
You have to make concessions against people you like because of the people that are just choosing to be horrible, and it's just something we have to live as broadcasters. We live with as broadcasters.
Yeah, and I know I keep reiterating this, but this is I love talking about this stuff because I think it gives a good perspective from our side. You know, a lot of times we're doing a lot of different things over here. You know, we're the talent. We're also the cameraman. We're also the playing the game. We're talking. We're trying to do all these different things. And it can be so hard to articulate sometimes, and it can be so hard to focus on one thing and explain ourselves fully to people. And so I think it's super cool that people get this kind of perspective. What other things would you throw out to maybe people who are new streamers, like people getting into? Do you have like an ultimate tip that you give them, or just some general good advice?
Be true to who you are. A lot of people look at a certain streamer and go, I want his success. And lots of different streamers have very specific strategies and styles and personalities, and you shouldn't try and just assume one of them. Like, a lot of people might go, look at Goldie. He's successful. He's this, he's that, he's this, that, he's the other. I want a channel like Goldie's. And they'll like try and copy his chat rules and try and copy this and try and copy his format and whatever. And it's really obvious when you're not being you. What you should do is find a channel that encompasses your personality, your goals, your strengths, most importantly, and use them for inspiration, but forge your own corner of Twitch off of who you are. It's much better to have 10 viewers that like you for you than have 20 viewers that are like, I thought he was like Gold Glove, but he's not. They can see when it's being forced. So if you're a nice person, have chat rules that are nice. Some people, like, there's no right or wrong way to do Twitch. Like, if you might look at Reynad's chat or Crip's chat and be like, oh my God, this guy has no idea how to run a chat. But that works for him. The people that do that kind of chat, although they're doing that kind of thing, they are enjoying that part of his channel, and he has grown successful off it, and it attracts more of those kind of people. And if you're a nice person like us, you end up with a really warm, generous, beautiful community that again enjoy each other's company. So I would say stay true to yourself, build a channel around the pillars that you want, whether it's fun, whether it's jokes, whether it's music, whether it's being good at games, whether it's not being good at games and learning games, whether it's learning how to play a game with your community, whether it's playing games with your community, whatever it is. Find a few pillars that you want to embody and work on building a foundation off of those, rather than just starting off with like trying to copy someone else's style, if you will, because it was really obvious to your viewers when you're trying to be like, hey guys, now we're going to do this part of the stream, and it's very obvious you're just trying to copy someone else, but it's not in your heart.
I just came up with this really good idea. It's called Sub Sunday. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, guys, but
isn't that copyrighted? You just got sued by saying that, I think.
I think it probably. I think we're heading that direction.
I'm sure someone copyrighted that.
Yeah, I think somebody actually did. I think it's Sub Wars. I think that was Trick 2G. Sub Wars was we cannot say Sub Wars. So when you started Twitch, did you do it to become famous? Was that like your goal, was like, I want to be somebody, like anything like that?
No, I'd like the fame is actually quite, it's a double-edged sword. Fame, it's definitely a double-edged sword. The more famous you become, they say, like, if you don't have haters, you're not trying hard enough. No matter how thick your skin is, if you see enough hate, it gets to you. And to think that there are people that literally spend hours of their time every day spreading and inciting hate against someone else is kind of like, whoa, what did I do to this person for them to actually spend time they could spend bettering themselves, attacking me and corralling other people to attack me? So I definitely didn't want fame. I did it because it's my passion. I play a game, I get good at it, and by getting good at it, I can talk about how I got good at it, and other people can learn from that and get good at it and enjoy it themselves. And they go, wow, thanks. Like the amount of people that like, I just won my first culling game because you showed me how to do that trick. I didn't even know you could get a crate from there. I didn't know that weapon could do this. I didn't know how to make armor. Or from DayZ, I didn't know that's how you cure cholera, or that's how you zero your rifle. Like for me, getting those comments in chat, and those comments on YouTube videos, and those comments on Twitter, and those comments occasionally on Reddit were like little sparks for my day. It was like, oh wow, like it hits you. And also, like early on in my stream, I'd get a lot of messages, and I still do to this day, where people are like, "You got me through this hard day. I've got a family member that's ill, or my pet died, or I've got this financial problem, or I'm ill, or something's happening, and watching your stream got through me." Like the amount of people that are like, "I'm watching your stream from Hope Hospital, like on my cell data thing, and you're getting me through this right now." Like, it kind of made me feel like in the last 4 years, I've genuinely affected thousands of people's lives in some positive way, probably hundreds of thousands, and who knows, tens of thousands. That's what makes me come back. Not like, oh, look how much more famous I am today. Like, who cares?
Yeah, and I think we're gonna see a pattern here as the more people that I interview that are Twitch streamers or probably anything in this space, is people that want to get into it do it because they love it. They really do. They have a passion for it, and if they didn't, they wouldn't be here. And I can relate all too well with it's not even constructive criticism. It's just hate, you know. But putting yourself in front of the public eye, that's kind of expected, right? Because I know that there's people that I've seen before. Like I just look at them like, I just don't like that person just by looking at them, right? And it's a terrible thing to do. And I do my best to get to know that person and, you know, find out who they really are. But sometimes I just feel that way, you know. And when you put yourself out in front of so many people, literally millions of people have been through your channel. you're gonna get people that dislike you. You just are, and not everybody is as mature, and not everybody, has that kind of perspective on themselves. So you run into that, you really do, and I think that we do a lot to have as thick a skin as we can, and to kind of hide that from our audience. But maybe some of the more sensitive people like myself, man, like you can tell visibly when somebody says something and it just hits home. So I think it's a totally normal feeling. But yeah, that is something that definitely comes up with me as well. So what you're saying definitely hits home with me. Do you ever find that what helps you get out of, like, I know that you mentioned hearing feedback, positive feedback from your viewers. What else kind of helps you deal with that kind of negativity that you get just being in the public eye?
It's hard. There's not much. Sometimes it hits you and it just tilts you for your whole day, and you just, even if you're not streaming, it's your day off, whatever, you're just dwelling on like, oh god, I can't believe like this happened or that happened, or it's super hard. Like I've not, to be honest, I've not found a really solid way of dealing with it. Like I just have to, like I disconnect from it all, and then I just have to look objectively at it and go, if I went to my computer and pressed a button, a couple of thousand people would spare me their time to sit and talk to me and enjoy my time. I must be doing more right than wrong, so I should just carry on. I kind of just have to logically reason with it.
Yeah.
But there are some times where I see hate that it really does stagger me. Like when people lie, like there'll be people like talking on forums and stuff, and it'll be like, oh yeah, this one time I was playing DayZ and I saw Sacriel, and then like my game shut down and I was banned from the server. And they'll just say that, and then someone else is like, I can't believe you do that, what an asshole. And I'm like, wait a minute, how did I see you, know your username, and then alt tab quick enough and tell like the DayZ devs to ban your Steam account's game? Like, you know what I mean? They just say like crazy things, but he'll say it, and then another person will be like, yeah, he did that to me too. Yeah, he did that to my clan because we killed him. And they'll just lie and lie and lie and lie. And it kind of staggers me how hateful some people can be. But that's why when I'm on my chat and people are hateful, but it's not insane hate, it's just kind of like what I call entry level hate. Entry level hate. When you're new to the hating game and you just, it's like
it's on a spoon, like with the airplane, like zzz, here it comes in, open up. Entry level hate.
Yeah, I try and turn them around and just be like, dude, spend the time you're spending hating me bettering yourself. And when you can look at me and it's not intimidating that I'm doing this as a job, or this many people like me or whatever, and you look at me and go, I'm on my path to where I want to be, maybe you'll be able to accept the slight flaws in me that you see that make you this angry. And I say these things with the hope that if I even turn one asshole around, and maybe the other 10 of just go lol, lamau, whatever, and just talk shit again, and I ban them, that maybe I improved one person out of that stack.
It's funny because I can remember just even recently, this is, I don't know, a little bit of a mission. I went through and started reading some of the YouTube comments on my first episode of 1vs1 with JP. And there's a comment on there. It's probably still there. And it says, it's like, shut up, unfunny bearded guy, fat bearded guy or something. And it was like the most random, like typical YouTube comment, and I read that, and somebody, what got me is somebody else liked it. It had like 2 thumbs up or something, and I was like, oh my god, people hate me and everything. The reason I'm talking with Sacriel about this, and I'm so glad that he's been so candid again with us, is I want people to know that having those doubts and fears and having that criticism and sometimes that outright hate is a part of this. It really is a part of this, a very real part of this. And your mental health is extremely important. And so if you're thinking about getting into streaming and you're thinking about doing this stuff, it's totally normal to feel that way and to feel depressed or to feel those words come through, because you are human, right? At the end of the day, you are human. So I think I think there's a lot of important things we've talked about today, and I really appreciate how open you've been about it, because I think there's, again, a perspective thing that I think the viewers don't always get to see. So I think it's encouraging, though, too, for people starting out to hear that, you struggle with these things, JP struggle with some things, I struggle with these things, and to hear that kind of normalizes it for them. So what were you going to say?
People kind of, from the outside, if you're not doing what we do, especially on our level, in terms of just like how many people are watching, how much chat we have to read, and so on. You might think I can put up with that. I could play games and put up with that. Imagine playing a game with your entire family in the living room with you, and every moment they're writing down on a piece of paper questions, and you have to look away from your game while you're trying to play the game well, and look at the question and read it and answer it and remember. And when you stream, it's not just playing games. People go, when you do a 10-hour stream, people are like, that's quite long. That's not like playing a game for 10 hours. That's playing a game, reading your mod chat, reading donations and subs, reading actual chat, answering questions, absorbing and trying to just ignore hate, and playing for me at least anyway, a typically difficult game with your pride on the line because it's a PvP game. It's so much more mentally draining than people can. Until you've done it, you can't imagine how hard it is. Like literally when I'm playing Culling or DayZ, 50% of my time is reading chat. And then when you make mistakes in game and people are like, oh my God, you didn't see that guy. Oh, you're shit. And it's like, I'm literally, imagine playing a game and 50% of the time you're looking away from the screen to answer questions, to ignore hate, to give meaningful, insightful answers. It's a massive, massive mental drain. So when you finish that 10-hour stream and it's not like finishing 10 hours of gaming, it's like finishing 50 hours of gaming. Then you see all this hate, whether it's on a forum, a tweet. It really hits you hard because you're mentally spent from doing your job.
Yeah.
So
it's exhausting
from the outside. What I mean this, I'm addressing the people that you're saying like might be getting into streaming and thinking, nah, I can put up with that. Don't think of it as just like playing a game for 10 hours or 6 hours, whatever. It's actually incredibly mentally draining, and it brings your defenses down. And then when you finish it and you just see this torrent of hate somewhere, it can really hit you. And it's like you said, people look at this job like, oh, it must be so fun. Wake up, play games. Woo, this is brilliant. But you know, the whole saying about like a clown crying behind his mask, you would be surprised how streamers feel at the end of the day or on their days off. You wouldn't think they're just kind of dancing around their mansions going, this is such a great life. It's very difficult. So
do you own munchkins?
I own people on land.
You're like dancing around your munchkins. Every streamer has munchkins. No, like I said, I mean, I don't want anybody to think that we're complaining because we're not. It's not a complaint. I know that Sacriel loves. Yeah, exactly. It's a reality thing. I know that Sacriel loves what he does, and I love what we do. And again, we talked about. Oh, he's shaking his head. We've talked about how we wouldn't. Yeah.
Someone wants to become a mermaid. I'm paying for this really advanced surgery. Help me. You won't let me out of the house.
No, but I think, again, like I said, I think it's important to kind of discuss it and get it out there because we love what we do, but there's definitely things about it that I would, this is part of the show is bringing to light some of, how we feel. And this won't be the last time we talk about stuff like this, and with other streamers too. So, but it looks like we're coming up on the end here. I want to thank you, Sacriel, for just the really candid interview.
Good looks, really.
Yeah, mostly your good looks, first of all. Your personality much lower on the scale, but your looks are really immaculate, and they really drew, pulled you through this. I think between you and
of England.
What's that?
I'm the embodiment of England, if you will.
You're a Duke, right? I hear you're a Duke of the town of Newcombe.
The Duke of Newcombe, yes.
Yeah, you're a Duke.
Tell that story. That's a great one.
Oh, that actually is a good story. So, okay, real quick, last story. Sacriel and I were having, it was Sacriel and myself and Cora, my fiance, and Shannon. And we had a couple of friends with us. You guys might know Bruce, Leo One, and Precious Kitten. If you don't, they're good friends of mine in real life. They went to the convention. We were all having breakfast together. And I can't remember how it actually came up. I think it was Sacriel that made just an off the cuff, because Sacriel has a real dry humor sometimes, and he can just like throw out a comment and then just move on and not make a facial expression at all. And you just like, if you don't know him,
especially Americans, they sometimes people can't tell if I'm serious or not.
Yeah, and he made like this comment about him being a Duke. I think
you said in passing, you went, "You're a Duke, right?" as a joke.
Oh, did I? Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was me or you that threw it out there.
Yeah, and like you were talking about England, and you went, "You're a Duke, right?" as a joke, and I went, "Well, I own people and land, so effectively, yeah."
Yeah, it was something like you accepted it. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. And my buddy was like, "Oh my God, I'm having breakfast with a Duke." Like, what in the and like after that they just barely said anything.
They didn't speak for like 10 minutes. They were just kind of like looking down at their plates and
then finally my buddy, I believe it was Bruce Lee, that finally went like, "Listen, I just gotta compliment. Are you really a Duke?" Like he was like, "Are you really a Duke?" And we're like, oh no, we're recording. Like we just like came out with him and started laughing at him. And then we started making jokes about how he was the Duke of Nukem. He's the province or hamlet of Nukem. Yeah. And stuff. So
their faces were like, they were like, oh, thank God.
Yeah,
like they didn't know what to do. Like how to address me.
Like your Majesty, should they curtsy or bow? Yeah. Like, what's the proper way to disengage from this conversation? You know. Oh God. Anyways,
that was so funny.
It was a really good time. Thanks so much for coming on the show with me, man. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate how open you were about it, and talking about a little bit about yourself and about the streaming world. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This will be up on YouTube, on my YouTube, probably over the next couple of days.
Lots of positive comments below. Positive. Look at the positivity down there.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Oh yeah. We can do that, right? Because it's not up there yet, so we can pretend like it is. And
look at that guy.
Oh man, I really like
the best looking man I've ever seen. He's
Sephiroth.
Like they put Gassy Mexican and Anthony Kong fan in that machine from The Fly. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you can just look down and be like Sephiroth 07. I really disagree with your criticism, but I'll take it into consideration. No, anyways, if you guys want to watch the video later, it will be up on YouTube in 2 parts. Last one was in 3 parts due to some uploading errors, so this should be in 2 parts next time. Nice and compact. Thank you again, Sacriel. Sacriel, if you have anything that you want to throw out there, stuff that you're doing, maybe just hey, come on by kind of speech or whatever, now is your opportunity.
Not really. I'm quitting after this.
Because of the Cat Ninja story is out, and now...
Actually, I just got a call from Spielberg. They're doing a Cat Ninja movie, so I'm peacing out. No, I'm Chris or Sacriel. You can find me on twitch.tv/Sacriel. And if you want to see me kicking ass at some PvP games, come say hello. That's about it.
Yeah, especially if you're a fan of the culling, it's like watching Sacriel is a whole nother ball game. It's insane. It makes me. It's so good that it makes me. I'm not just like blowing you here a little bit, but it makes me feel so like self-conscious about how I play it and stream it, because I'm like, what? Like I gotta be really funny to equal out the amount of skill that Sacriel has to like try to talk about jokes and boobs and whatever and penises and stuff, just to try to keep on point, because he's very good at the game. Well, thanks again, Sacriel. Hopefully we'll get you back on the show at some point next week. We're gonna have another person who's been playing a lot of the calling. Fairlight is gonna be next week.
I love Jesse. He's so good.
Yeah, we're gonna have Fairlight on next week. This should be a good show, and we're gonna get to know Fairlight a little bit as well. Hopefully you guys.
Have you seen how me and Jesse play culling together?
No, I haven't.
Well, like when we were in the final 2v2, if we kill the other guy's partner, so it's 2v1, we'll both like drop all our weapons and we'll just get a backpack off the floor and we'll just take turns throwing the backpack into the guy, and it only does 1 damage, so it just and then Jesse will run in and grab it and the guy's running off and I run over and push the guy and he'll throw his bag, and we literally just bag them to death. It's hilarious.
It sounds like in Hook, where they're like play, and they like throw it and hit Robin Williams in the face.
Yeah.
And they're like, play.
Oh, yeah. Or one of the fun ones is we got a taser and we'll just like taser them and then just like throw random objects at them while they're tased. Like, so they're just getting chain tased, and like you're throwing like a bandage at him and then a med kit, and then you'll get a gun, but you'll throw the gun at him instead of shooting him and just like beat them down with
this is bad manners. I don't agree with anything this man's talking about right now.
You like a clean kill.
Yeah, I like a nice clean kill where I like just place traps everywhere and run around like a chicken with his head cut off till they die a slow bleeding
We should
death.
do 2 sometime, man.
We really should. I mean, I'm always so intimidated at doing games with you because it comes from DayZ, because I see the way that you play, and I'm just like, I'll be the guy. It will be like you're King Arthur and I'm the guy behind you like
with the coconut. Yeah,
like
bring me my spear.
Yeah, bring me my spear. It's like a spear, my lord. Yes. You need more arrows, my lord. I'm crafting them as we speak. Yes, but we should do 2s at some point. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. All right. So I will see you guys hopefully next week for 1v1. If you guys are more into the show than my stream, if you're into my stream, I will be streaming tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to play some more Paragon. I'm hooked on Paragon. So, but anyways, thank you guys for coming out. You guys are amazing. I will see you either tomorrow or next week. And next week will be Jesse. So have a great day and be good to each other. Bye.
Howdy, y'all. How do I say bye in American?
How do you say bye in American?
Yeah, I only know howdy, y'all.
Howdy in American is this? You can say goodbye. You can also say I'll see you later. There's
I'll
also
see you later. I'm gonna get
Pilgrim.
a go.
Pilgrim. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Don't say anything else. You're good. Bye, everybody. We're out. Finally. See ya. Love you. Goodbye.